events and flavors that might make Johnson City great. And I am here with a friend of mine, Rafael Zabala, and he's all about flavors of Johnson City and the Tri Cities. How are you doing this morning, Rafael?
Doing well, thank you.
Thanks for coming in. So I've always admired you and what you do, and I can't cook a lick really. I can make a good frozen waffle, but that's about it. And so, yeah, we Carly and I love going to your restaurants and love all that you do, and it's just amazing what you've accomplished. And so I'm excited to kind of dig into that a little bit, get to know you a little bit better today, and let the audience know all about you, all about what you're doing in our community. And yeah, and so tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Oh, let's see here. I've been in the restaurant business in the Tri-Cities for 17 years now. So, 2004, we opened up a Stir Fry Cafe over at Barnes& Noble. That's actually, I remember
Yeah, that's where I remember
meeting you then.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, long years ago.
Yeah,
But met a lot of people in Tri-Cities during the Stir Fry Cafe days.
Yes.
Here at Barnes& Noble with the food and the late night scene and all that. And I still run into people every day. They're like, man, we miss Stir Fry. And it was just a culmination of a lot of good people and good things happen at the same time. And
it was a special place. We loved going there. The music on the patio. It was just a great spot. But you've moved on and doing other stuff.
Yeah,
So.
Ruby Tuesdays approached us about purchasing that property. I don't know, it's been probably 10 years plus now.
Uh-huh.
So they bought that property and then put their concept in there, and we moved on and came to downtown Johnson City at that time, which was pretty ground floor.
Yeah.
There wasn't much going on down here.
It really has changed a lot, I think, in the last 5 years. But yeah, 10 years ago when you moved here, it's just really, you can really see it change. And then so you left Barnes and Noble, you came downtown. How's that been?
Sure, it's been great. I mean, we started out with the concept as Sport 112 downtown, which was sports bar and nightclubish. Still very young at the time, so the late night scene was something I could put up with.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. The big fan and all the chairs would, like, at some point during the night, the chairs would just go to the side, and we'd have a big dance floor.
Yeah. And that's really all downtown Johnson City had been until that point. There wasn't really a dining establishment that had been down here up until then. So ran that business for 5 years and shut it down, revamped it. In about 2 months, we shut down 112, remodeled, came up with the label concept, and then opened back up. It was actually Blue Plum Weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Was our grand opening. Let's see, 5-6 years ago now.
That's crazy.
So
okay.
June.
So Stir Fry turned into the label.
Well, I actually got to back up because the first Stir Fry Johnson City turned into Stir Fry downtown Kingsport.
Kingsport, right.
Yeah, so it's been there for coming up on 13 years
Okay,
now.
yeah, we've been there too. We love that one as well. I like Kingsport's downtown as well. It's vibrant as well.
It is. Downtown's laid out very nice.
Yeah.
That's an 1890 building.
Yeah, and that's one thing I admire. You take a building and you make it look super cool. So I don't know if you do that on your own. Do you have people help you with that?
Yeah, I do a lot of the interior design, but the architects obviously help, and that's fun. Is taking those old buildings and revitalizing them and turning them into something cool.
Yeah,
That's something we don't, after Stir Fry Johnson City, where that was in a shopping center, which is fine. But to me, it's like you can go to a restaurant in a shopping center and you walk out of the shopping center, it's like you could be anywhere in America.
Sure.
There's no character to it.
Right.
Whereas you come into a downtown label or 620 State and you walk out, or as you drive in, you get to see the downtown. You get to see the atmosphere of the downtown and the vibe of the downtown. And that's what I really like people to see.
Yeah, I do too. I wish you had a parking garage beside every one of them.
But you're preaching to the choir on that
one. I know. Carly's always like, "Do you really want to go downtown?" I'm like, "Yeah, we got to go down." And she's like, "Okay, well, you drop me off and you park somewhere." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm fine with that."
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, which is great. And I don't mind jogging, a half mile to come eat your food.
Personal valets.
So we got Kingsport, we got Johnson City. What else you got going on? You got you got two. Southern Craft and Johnson City. Well, I'll let you tell.
Well, let's see. In timeline order, then we did 620 State in downtown Bristol.
Okay.
So it's a kind of a fusion between, it's got sushi, burgers, and some of the traditional stir fry wok dishes.
Yes.
And that was again in another like late 1800s building. Used to be a historic building, the H.P. King building.
Yeah, it is beautiful in there.
Really cool space. We have an event facility above it too that seats 300 for weddings.
And did you own that whole building or just that?
No, we partnered with a gentleman named Alan Hurley in downtown, and we revitalized that building together.
Yeah, you guys did a great job. Carly and I love going there. She's from Bristol, and so when we're up there, we typically, that's our stop. We like that spot.
Yeah, it's a good spot
Hmm.
downtown Bristol. Again, it's just like with
It's
the
rolling.
festivals and
Yeah.
all that going on, Rhythm and Roots and the Paramount. It's just been That's been a great business for us, and we've been there for coming upon 10 years.
Yeah.
So again, it was like in all these downtowns, we were kind of if we weren't the first, we were definitely in the top 3 or 4 eating establishments in the downtown areas and
Yeah.
in the whole Tri Cities.
Yeah. And so is your model, you get one kind of up and running, and then I'm assuming you have some great management in place, and then you kind of like, okay, this is your baby. I'm going to go do another one. Is that this, or do you,
Just
or you're
kind
just like,
of
I'll
it's
just open five at once and we'll figure it out.
A little bit of both. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, good people. That's crucial in the
That is
restaurant
key.
business.
Yeah.
That's If we don't have good people, we can't grow. And right now, it's something I don't think about often, but I was thinking about this morning on the drive here. It's like right now we have over 250 employees in the Tri Cities. So, and with the 2 new restaurants we're adding, we'll be way over 300 employees in the Upper East Tennessee.
That's awesome.
So I think that's
That's a great addition and a great responsibility. Thank you for helping out the local economy for sure.
sure love to working with the people, finding new people. That's what allows us to grow and giving them
Yeah.
opportunities to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that I could be in the restaurant business, and I'm glad there are people that are for
Yeah,
sure.
that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Just finding those more and more people. And
Yeah.
as you go to different markets, you got to find a whole new network of people.
Yeah. And so you've got 10 total restaurants. Is that right?
10 total. That's including the 2 new ones on the book. So
What are those going to be? Give
um,
us a little insight to what you got coming up.
Juan Shao is going to be on the corner of Tipton and Buffalo Street.
What's it called?
Juan Shao. So it's going to
Oh.
be Latin and Asian food.
Ooh.
The last name Shao, that was Kenny Shao, is the person who got me into the restaurant business back in Knoxville in the early 2000s.
Huh.
Um,
Okay.
Met Kenny when he had let's see 4 or 5 different restaurant concepts going on in Knoxville, and I was in college there. I was bartending at the Chop House, the original Chop House out in West Knoxville,
Yeah. Yeah. I've eaten there.
and there was this really cool restaurant I kept passing on the way to University of Tennessee every day, where I went to school, and called Cha Cha's, and I kept seeing it being built out. So I pulled in there one day and was like, hey, I'm looking for a change up from the Chop House, and so I got hired before they opened. And then we opened that restaurant called Cha Cha's, and it was just a great experience. Latin food, just great vibe, perfect atmosphere, and became friends with Kenny, who was
Hmm.
one of the biggest restaurateurs in the Knoxville area at the time. So from there, we just kind of thought about Stir Fry Johnson City.
Hmm.
But I left after I graduated college and was a broker at Morgan Stanley for about a year or so.
Really?
And then Kenny was like, "Hey, I got this deal in Stir Fry.
You're like, I'm
Takes
not enjoying this Morgan Stanley gig,
right,
probably.
right now,
I
bad
don't think I've
timing.
ever seen you in a tie. So,
No, I'm definitely like the t-shirt and jeans better than to get suited up every day.
yeah, yeah.
So
I'd say you look good in a suit, not knocking you, but yeah, I get it. I get it.
definitely more comfortable here.
Yes, yes.
But so the opportunity came about when Kenny was building a stir fry in Johnson City to come back up here, get involved in that one, and then that's how I got back to the Tri Cities. But unfortunately, about 4 months after we opened Stir Fry Johnson City, Kenny passed away in a freak drowning accident in Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was horrible. I'm sure you vaguely
Mm,
remember that.
I think so. Yeah.
Seven. So,
Mm,
but
yeah.
he's who got me started in the restaurant
I'm
business.
sorry. Yeah. Um, Now, where did you grow up? Where's home for you? Where were you born? Tell us a little bit about the life story.
I was born in Maracaibo, Venezuela, and then
That's right around the corner, isn't it?
yeah, just
Okay. Like
south there.
Stony Creek area.
But my mom was from Mountain City, so when my parents got divorced, she moved back to Mountain City. So
Okay.
I grew up in Mountain City, and then a few years later, my dad and most of my Latin side of my family moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
So it was good. I got to grow up in the country, and then also get the city experienced when I visited my family in Atlanta.
So yeah, so that's where the Latin feel comes from a little bit, and then
Yep,
your mom from local, she's a local
correct.
lady, so
Yep,
you got a little Tennessee flavor as well, and you're
yep,
blending those well. I think you got a little barbecue over at
yep.
Southern
Southern
Craft,
craft.
and
Yep,
then you got stir fry.
sure.
Um, yeah, that's neat. Now, do you have any culinary like training per se besides opening up some restaurants with Kenny?
No, I do not.
Do you
Leave that to the experts, the other people.
you
No,
hire well? You're like
hire well.
you probably learned a ton though. Do you like to get back there and cook a little bit?
Not really. I like the business side. I like the the putting the business together side of it. My
Hmm.
business partner, Martin Bagwell, he takes care of all the culinary side.
Okay.
So Martin and I have been working together for, well, I guess 15, 16 years.
Okay. And so he's partner in the stir
He's
fry
partner in the
group.
stir fry group. Yeah.
It's just you two, or you
Mhm.
got anybody else?
We have a financial partner in Knoxville
Okay.
that helped us get started and is a part of our finances as
That's
we
cool.
grow the business.
Yeah. And I think before we got recording, you said you bought the Chateau Sela.
Yeah, bought that about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So we have a huge catering business in the Tri Cities. Obviously, this year wasn't, or last year wasn't very good with Eastman going offline. A lot of the business functions going offline, but
Right.
do a lot of weddings. So we've
Yeah.
got an event facility above Southern Craft
Uh
in
huh.
Johnson City called the Gallery Events Facility.
Okay.
Have one in Bristol called the Foundation Event Facility above 620 State.
Hmm.
We have one at the new Southern Craft in Bristol, Virginia, in the Sessions Hotel, which is a boutique Marriott property.
Okay.
We have an event facility there. And then we have Social in downtown Kingsport, which is the old city bus garage that we do weddings and corporate functions there,
Yeah.
just right around the block from Stir Fry. And
Yep.
then Chateau Solar was the newest one that purchased about 3 years ago. It's a beautiful house
It's a unbelievable
on
property.
80 acres in Bluntville, just with awesome mountain,
The
long range
view out of
views.
the back of that place is
Mhm.
fantastic. Yeah.
Awesome views.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
So did some upgrades there, and it's been a great property for us.
Gotcha. So you said, so did you grow up here mainly in Johnson City or you're Mountain City?
Mountain City, I went to
Okay.
school at University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and
I did too. When did you graduate?
2002.
Okay. I beat you by a few years,
Yeah,
96.
96. Wow.
Yeah. What'd you get your degree in?
Business.
Okay. You were smarter than I was. I went to, I got horticulture degree
Yeah,
and then Meadowview helped start that golf course. And then,
nice.
yeah, got into real estate after that. So here I am selling houses now.
I think you get your degree in anything. It's more about the network of people that you run into. So
And work ethic,
big,
like I think if you choose to do something and you can do it really well and it's your passion and you work hard at it, I think you're going to be successful. You just can't be half in. I'm sure
true.
you've probably
Yeah.
seen that. So what's something you wish you'd known when you started your career, like early on? If you could go back and say, okay, I'm coming to Johnson City,
Mhm.
besides seeing Johnson downtown blow up, probably, but it'll come here first. But what would be something you wish you'd known that you know now?
I don't know. People think the restaurant business is very glamorous business.
It looks fancy.
And from the outside looking in, lots of things look like that. So it's
Yeah.
just a lot of hard work, a lot of capital involved. Um, a lot of hours, especially to create a new concept and get something off the ground. I remember Stir Fry Johnson City, for example. I can't even count the amount of hours that I worked there back in the day. It was just,
If I needed a
it's
cot in the
just
back, just might as well sleep here because I'm going to be here back in the morning. Yeah.
many times walking out of that restaurant with the birds chirping and right back at 10 o'clock to get it going back again. So just, the amount of hours and capital um, in the restaurant business is something that people don't see from the customer side.
Where'd you get your work ethic, you think?
Oh man, I guess there's a lot of people involved in that one. My mom's a hard worker.
Hmm.
My grandfather was a hard worker. So family
Yeah.
work ethic, and people throughout my life. As you were asking earlier about influences,
Hmm.
obviously Kenny Shaw was a big influence on me. My business partner in Knoxville, Mark Rowan's been a big influence. People throughout the community who you're familiar with. This
Hmm.
when I was younger, Pastor Greg DePriest
Oh, yeah.
was a
I
huge
love
influence
Greg.
as we attended Christ Fellowship there and
Yeah. Yeah.
watched him grow that.
Yeah. And then having the wisdom to say, okay, it's time for me to, you know, steward it to somebody else and let them take care of it I think it was a perfect timing for him and, the next pastor who came in. And so,
Yeah, and it was a crazy backstory connection there. As Pastor Greg and Denise used to drive to Knoxville for date night to eat at Stir Fry.
really,
Yeah,
that's cool.
which that was long before I knew him.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny. They're a sweet couple for
Mhm.
sure. I haven't seen them in a little while.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah. So, tell me something that you love about Johnson City. What's one of your favorite things?
Um, just the vicinity. It's you got lots of options here. It's big enough to have options,
Uh huh.
uh, but not so big where you're just inundated with people and traffic and houses on top of each other and things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I like to be outdoors, so we have 3 lakes here that are really close by, and we go to all of them: South Holston, Watauga. I live on Boone Lake, so and then you've got the mountains. You can go up into the mountains of Banner Elk and Blowing Rock. We go up there a lot. It's just so close, and just to go up there and ski and get some turns
Yeah,
in.
you were saying you like to ski. Where's your favorite place to go locally?
Well, I grew up skiing Beach Mountain. That's where I
Hmm.
first learned to ski, and used to go up there on the weekends and just spend my whole weekend up there,
Yeah,
and love that. And
yeah.
so
And
usually,
now you told me you go some other places to ski and do some fun things there. Tell me
yeah,
more about that.
yeah, I love to go out west. We go to a lot of places out in Colorado and Utah, and got a trip planned next year to Wyoming. And probably the best ski trip was to British Columbia, out in the middle of nowhere, about 200 miles southeast of the Alaska border.
Oh, wow.
Went heli skiing up there a couple of years ago.
That's
So,
where you get in a helicopter
mhm,
and they drop you off at the top of a mountain because there's no lift, right?
there's no
And
lift.
it's just wide open and you go.
Just as far as you can see, just mountains and snow. As far just in the middle of nowhere. Just it's a definitely a great experience. Definitely something I'll do again. And that trip was, kind of like a once in a lifetime trip, but it's something I want to replicate every couple of years.
Yeah,
And the people there were great. The people I met from all over the world. I was actually the only American on the trip.
really.
Yeah, everybody's from all over the world.
That's cool.
It was a really cool trip.
Yeah. And so, tell me about in that case, I'd be kind of going, okay, there's some fear involved here. And, fear plays a part in everything, it seems like. And so I'm trying to work on what do you do to, manage that, because, but getting on an airplane or a helicopter,
Hmm.
getting dropped off in the wilderness, that's, you probably had to overcome a little fear with a bunch of people you don't even know.
Yeah, a little
Half
bit.
of them you probably can't even communicate with. So, what, tell
Thankfully,
me about
everybody
how
spoke.
you manage fear.
Um, on that particular instance, obviously we had a guide who we,
Yeah,
had to put a lot of trust in other people. So
sure.
I think that's one way to manage is, make sure you surround yourself with people who can guide you through a fear circumstance.
Uh huh.
And just believe in yourself and what you can do.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, like I've done this before. I'm finding, you build off of your experiences.
Yeah.
And so as I'm getting older, and coming up on 50, I'm looking back and going, okay, well, I did this, I made it through that. And I did,
Yeah,
and so
definitely. Yeah.
you kind of go, okay, I think we can figure this out. I listened to another podcast the other day and there was a lady, she wrote a book called Everything's Figure Outable. And so, like, I think just having that mindset that we can figure this out, right?
Right.
And we can get through it. And so I'm sure looking at a building that's a raw space, you're like, okay, there's going to be a restaurant in here. And so tell me about kind of like how do you get the vision for it and then bring it to fruition?
I, I don't know if it's. I think I get a lot of visions from just traveling. That's something I love to do. Is just go places, be out and about. That was probably the most difficult thing about 2020 is not being able to travel as
Oh my
much. But
gosh. I know. Carly and I are like, I think she's tired of looking at me. She wants to look at, the world.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Just inspirations from traveling, and I don't know. I just walk into a space and I can kind of see it pretty quickly,
Uh huh.
and then bounce it off some buddies of mine that I've been working with for 17 years, and we throw our ideas back and forth, and it really comes together fairly easily. Um, Back to the fear thing, like I remember early on in my restaurant career, when we were changing 112, especially because downtown just wasn't really there yet.
Right.
We were That concept was done,
Mm
right?
hmm.
And we had
Mm-hmm.
the space, and we had to change a whole thing. It was like, hey, are we got I always call that the double down move, right? So we really
All
doubled
right,
down
we're
on that
cutting
space.
off. We're closing the doors for a while. So no income, right? And
Yep.
then you're revamping the whole deal,
And then reinvested into a space that was dead.
right? You're
And so
like,
it worked out. And just to, that particular instance, the 112, the label scenario, and
yeah,
put it in a high end restaurant that
yeah,
had, $40, $50 steaks. And that was a huge move and a big fear move for me because I was like, man, I just don't know if we can sell
right.
40, $50 steaks in downtown Johnson City.
I
But,
know, right?
at
Yeah.
that time, it was just like,
What do you?
far off,
Right.
but it ended up working out.
Yeah, it looks like it's worked out really well.
So getting through that, I think as our restaurant business grows, though getting through that particular instance, makes me less fearful as
Yeah,
far as moving forward. Like, hey, that it doesn't work out, we're switching to something else and keep moving.
we'll keep moving. Yeah. Um. So and then Lao She Shao
One shall,
Long
yeah,
Shao
one shall,
Wong Shao is going to be on the corner there. That's the big iron structure I see going
yeah,
up. Is that right?
yeah.
You worry about competing with yourself at all? Right there, two doors down.
I'm sure we'll compete against ourselves a little bit, but it's better to compete against yourself than somebody else compete against you. So,
That's right. That's a good point. Good
uh,
point.
then back to I don't think I finished that
Yeah, you got another one
statement.
coming up.
Xiao is Kenny's last name, so
Right. You did
that's
say that.
okay.
Yeah. And
That's how
then
that got there.
what's the next one opening up?
Southern Craft Greenville,
Okay.
Tennessee.
Nice. Yeah.
So we're looking at maybe that was in the old Stan's barbecue restaurant. I've been there for 28 years, right before you turned
Yeah.
left there at
Yeah.
Tusculum.
Yeah. 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 Good spot.
That's a great spot.
And Greenville seems to be one of those sleepers. Like I go down there and it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on, but there's a lot going on in Greenville.
There's a lot going on. I hadn't been spent more time down there in the last month than I ever have in my life, but yeah, there's a lot of traffic down there. So
Yeah.
I think
And
it'll be good.
so I think part of the reason you guys have done so well is because you are great building relationships with people, right? So like, we met at Stir Fry and then I see you at church. And so I feel like we're friends.
Mhm.
And then I'm sure you just have that charisma that everybody does. So going into a new market, you don't know a lot of people,
Right.
right? How do you kind of build those relationships there?
Just meet a few people, and it just networks into a lot of other people. And in the restaurant business, it's easy because everybody's coming to you, and they're
Right.
coming in, and they're wanting to meet you and wanting to meet people in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Hey, why did you come here? Thanks for coming here. And then we're already getting out. We haven't even closed the deal in Greenville yet. It's still, we still have to close on the property, but people are
Gotcha.
already excited and saying, hey, glad you guys are coming to Greenville.
Yeah, that's exciting. It's hard to be in 10 places at once though. So that comes back to your staff. And I
Yeah,
mean, and you do a great job because I'll go in one place and I'll see you. And then I'll be in another one and you'll come up during lunch and say, hey, and that's how we got to this podcast. And
sure.
so, yeah, I don't know how you do it, but it looks like you're in 10 places at once. And so, yeah, it's good.
As long as it looks that way, that's
It's
good.
that's right. You keep us all fooled. Tell us about the place in Bristol, Virginia, in the Sessions
And the
restaurant.
Sessions Hotel,
Yeah.
that project came up about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
It was really cool. It's an old flour mill,
Ooh.
and a development group out of Richmond, Virginia, was doing it. Boutique hotel, so it's a Marriott flag property,
Mm-hmm. I worked
seven,
for Marriott. Yep.
70 rooms. Um, it's been great so far. Of course, we opened up March 13th, 2020, and closed down the next week for the pandemic. So that was not great timing.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, good thing we have some reserves.
And we're in Virginia, so that's a whole different
Yeah,
set of
I
rules.
heard right. I heard you had to buy your own beer back or something, which is kind of
Yeah,
strange because over at Southern Craft, your Great Oak Brewery.
Great Oak Brewing. Yep.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
so I've had some of that. It's delicious.
Thank you.
Um, and then so you're brewing your own beer, which is smart. Again,
Correct. Yep.
competing with yourself, which is
Selling it to
smart.
ourselves. Yep.
Yeah, selling to yourself. And then so, how's it work to go to Virginia with you?
Just a lot of paperwork that we thought we had most of it in, and then we had to put more in. So we're still waiting on that process to come through, and it should be in the next couple 2 to 3 weeks. We had to establish a brewery actually in Virginia. So we've done that now. We have a small brewery set up there on site at Southern Craft, and then
Okay.
as soon as this final paperwork comes through, we'll be
Yeah.
able to start distributing our beer from here to distributor in Virginia, who would in turn bring it to us. So
Nice.
lots of hoops to
Isn't
jump
it
through.
funny the government how they work? Um, so on the brewery, was that just like something you always wanted to do, or just saw it doing well? There's only 5 or 10 of them in Johnson City now. So tell me about Great Oak.
Yeah, it was something we wanted to do because, again, it's just like the more stuff you can sell to yourself, the better.
Right.
And the margins are good in beer, which, we can self distribute in Washington County. So we can self distribute to Label, One Shao, and obviously Southern Craft. And then it was about finding the right person. So I was approached by somebody who wanted to do their own brewery, and they didn't have the capital to do it. So that was having that right person at the right time. And
Yeah.
he put
Who's your
he put
master brewer?
he put the brewery together. The person that put the brewery together actually was only there for a year,
Okay.
but it worked out great because
Yeah.
he was really good on the front end as far as establishing the construction part and the layout of the brewery and things like that.
Isn't that crazy?
And
There's a
then
lot that goes into it.
tons. I wouldn't even take a stab at it back there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're gonna put in a distillery next. We're gonna be making bourbon.
No, you can't have a distillery in the restaurant business. You can't.
Ah,
That's like
that's the one.
that's the one you
You
can't do.
can't.
You can't sell liquor to yourself.
Oh well.
But my old
Rats.
business partner does own Sugarlands Distillery in Gatlinburg, so
Okay.
he was a partner of ours in Stir Fry.
Oh, cool. Neat. Yeah, I've started getting into different bourbons and just sipping and tasting, and they're
Oh, yeah.
delicious. And the flavor profiles are amazing. Like, I mean, you wouldn't think they would be that different, but they're all over the place. And
Big
so,
time. Yeah, we
yeah,
had over 300, 300 or 400 of bourbons and scotches on the
yeah,
back bar at Label.
yeah. We've I'm in a little group, and we've come there a few times and done some bourbon tastings, and they're fantastic. And I hear you just got a little
Well,
Weller
they're foolproof.
foolproof, which is
That's one of the best ones I've ever tasted.
I'm gonna have to get some of that and try it out. Okay. How can listeners find you, Raphael, if they want to come hang out with you, or if you want to get a hold of you?
Usually a label. I call that's like my
Is that
living.
your
That's like my living room. It's,
okay?
whereas stir fry back, 15 years ago was my living room.
Yeah.
I think that was my living room, bedroom, and everything
Right.
else. But
Right.
label's kind of my home base, and
Okay.
usually start out my day there, and then bounce around the Tri Cities to
Do you have like a
different.
good schedule? Like, okay, I'm gonna be in Greenville soon. Greenville, then you're gonna have to be on the road a
Just
lot.
kind of just feel it out. Whatever depends on what's going on. If there's a fire that has to be put out somewhere, or somebody
Yeah.
that needs to be spoken with, and just go there, and I just like to pop in. It doesn't feel like a regular day unless you at least go by, and
What's a like a in a restaurant business? What's like a great day for you, like start to finish?
I just start out at label, and talk to some staff down there, see people at lunch, get a workout in early morning, and then afternoon go to usually Bristol,
Okay,
and then see the people over there.
and then finish it up.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's probably a lot of fun, and you probably enjoy getting into your team's lives and leading them well, and so checking in with them on a
Sure.
regular basis is it's kind of what it's all about, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's what we're called to do is step into those lives and pray and help those folks. And you've got 300 of them, which is
Yeah, coming up on 300 employees once we get the new
yeah,
restaurants running.
yeah. Did you ever think that you would have a group that big?
No, no, no. Well, initially when we started stir fry, we started thinking about, hey, we're gonna, let's take stir fry and like grow it to something
Mm-hmm.
huge. And that's Asian food, such a small percentage of the market,
Uh huh.
and especially in a market like the Tri Cities.
Yes. So you saw a
So
niche. So you were like,
yeah,
okay,
but it's hard to grow that 1% of people eat Asian.
yeah,
It's only 1% of the food segment. Whereas
sure,
barbecue or burgers or things like that, it's a huge demand, and everybody eats that. So
yes,
uh, I never thought, I never put a number on it, but I definitely never thought I wouldn't be like 300 employees, or maybe 1,000 employees in 10 years when we.
yeah. That'd be crazy, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? And then I guess you just keep going from there. You're like, um,
There's
what's your favorite part about the restaurant business?
the ask creating something new.
Yeah.
All of our brands, we're not buying franchises and
Right.
just somebody handing you over a playbook and saying follow 1 through 100
Right.
to create something. We create it from scratch. The name, the decor,
Yeah.
the location, that whole process. I really enjoy creating the restaurant.
Yeah. I think it's fun, and you do a great job with it. And
Thank you.
you probably wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, Southern Craft. That's the name. We're gonna call it that, or
Take
label. I don't know. I got a
uh,
label on my shirt that's bugging me. Let's. How'd you
uh,
get the name label?
I was looking at wine bottles
Uh huh.
one night, and just how you look at labels on wine bottles, and
All the
it's
time.
all the time, and bourbons
Mm-hmm.
or anything else, and that's where I came up with the name label, and nobody was using it, and it's really hard to find a name that nobody's using.
Yes.
And so since label is going to be a bourbon bar,
Makes
that's when I was
sense.
like, hey, we'll call it label.
There you go.
And it's just labels really influence your day-to-day purchasing habits, whether it be clothing or what restaurant you're going to or
Yes.
what computer you're buying. It's
And my
lots.
wife, Carly, and I look at labels a lot. She's got, you know, nut allergies and can't handle sunflower oil, and so I'm always looking at labels and
Yep.
checking it out. Yeah, and so, well, my last question is, what gets you fired up? Because this is going to drop Friday, and we do a little
Oh yeah.
fired up Friday every Friday. So, what fires you up, Raphael?
Oh, let's see. Besides,
Oh, you paddleboard too. You haven't
yeah,
talked about that.
yeah, we go paddleboarding on the rivers. A good
Yeah,
buddy of mine, Jack Nelson, who
yeah.
reps for Hala Paddleboards out of
Holla.
Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Yeah, it's a
Got
mouthful.
got me into the sport about 3 years ago, and it's been a great supplement into the summertime activities where we take whitewater paddleboards down the Watauga River, the Nolichucky. Where else we got? French Broad.
Does it feel like surfing at times?
Kind of surfing, snowboarding, a little bit of together.
That's cool.
So it's just a really cool way to see the river. Standing on top of the river going down, and
Yeah.
you can do something like super chill, like the Watauga River when it's generating, or you can do something a little more intense, like you Nolichucky or Section 9 of the French Broad. It's just uh,
Got to wear a
it's
helmet
it's
and
it's pretty
suit
intense.
up for
It's
that
pretty
one.
intense sometimes. but it's really fun. It's just a great way to see to be outdoors and see our local rivers.
Yeah,
People from all over the southeast come. It's crazy the people that I meet on the river that have come out from Atlanta to go to the Nolichucky River, or from
yeah,
Charlotte.
it's in our own backyard. And you said it's gonna. They're trying to designate it what?
We're trying to designate the Nolichucky River a wild and scenic river, which is
Wild and scenic.
which is still a non-dam controlled river, and also it will create will not allow a lot of development along the shore line.
That's cool. That'll be good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully that happens.
it is so beautiful to ride down it. I mean, it really
Mhm.
is. It is
Yeah,
pretty.
lots of stuff around here like that.
So, last question: what is your like? You got a last meal that you get to eat in the stir fry group. Where are you eating it? What is it? Because
Oh,
I want to know. This is it. Like
that's
you
a
got to.
tough
It's
one.
like I know. That's why I'm putting the screws to you a little
That's a
bit.
tough one. Well, it's definitely gonna be with a bottle of wine, no matter which meal it
Ooh,
is.
what do
So,
you like? Okay, so what kind of wine you gonna have with this meal?
probably like a French wine, like a Chateauneuf de Pape's one of my favorite French wines.
Okay,
That that's a tough one. The bone-in fillet it labels amazing, and then I'd say the drunken noodles is just like from stir fries. Like,
it's hard to beat,
yeah,
isn't
it's 15 years been eating drunken noodles.
it? You're half drunken noodle.
Yeah, so I would say one of those two dishes, or yeah, smoked turkey at Southern Craft is amazing as well.
Yeah, it is good. I
Lots of different choices.
yeah, I've gone plant based lately, so this all sounds delicious, and yeah, we have to get off the plan here in a little
You
while.
got to do the 80/20.
20% of the time you can do
Yeah,
something.
it's Tom Brady style.
Hey, does he do that?
Yeah, 80/20.
Because he was on Game Changers, and I saw him. Okay, well, Carla, you heard that 80/20. Um, okay, cool. Anything I forgot to ask you that you're like, hey, I really want the world to know this about me?
No, like I said, yeah, it's like I don't say no very often, and it's like you turn my arm to get me in here. So
Well,
it's
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was like, hey, he would be a great guy to start out the podcast with. Now that Leighton has, he's probably sitting there going, I don't know that I should have turned it over to him, but yeah. So I'm thankful that you were able to come in, and I'm glad we're friends, and look forward to seeing what you're going to create in the next few years, and just wish you the best.
I appreciate it.
I can't, yeah, yeah. It's you're inspiring, and it's fun to watch you grow, and so thanks for coming in, and thanks for being a part of the podcast. And so, audience, if you want to go see Raphael, he is over at the label a lot, and he's got a lot of other places you can go and help him out. He's a great guy, does great things with his money, and I think yeah, he's just a good addition to our community. And so, thanks for coming in, and I thank you guys for listening, and look forward to talking to y'all next week. And go get fired up.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. See you,
Appreciate it.
buddy.